Hi, I'm Christina Applegate.
And I'm Jamie-Lynn Sigler.
And this is
Messy. The following message is brought to you by Novartis. Since partnering with Novartis, I have been thinking a lot about when I was diagnosed with relapsing MS. I kept it a secret at first, and that robbed me of the support I really needed. I finally found the courage to open up about it and quickly learned the importance of speaking up. That means making your voice the loudest in the room. You have to find an MS specialist who's the right fit, who makes you feel seen and heard. It's kind of like dating. That's why I partnered with Novartis to create a 3-step guide to inspire others to own their RMS journeys, recognize their needs, and find a treatment that works for them. Learn more about my story at reframingms.com.
Messy is supported by Cionic.
The Cionic Neural Sleeve is the first FDA-cleared bionic clothing designed to help people living with MS and other neurological conditions improve walking and strength.
For people living with MS, staying mobile and active is an essential part of managing MS symptoms. So the neural sleeve looks and feels like a garment instead of an assisted device. And it's sleek enough to fit under your clothing.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love using my Cionic. So the system basically analyzes every step you take. You even see your little skeleton and how it's moving in the app as you're walking. And it sends electrical pulses directly to the 4 major muscle groups of your legs. So your quad, your hamstring, your shin, and your calf, and helps you improve your walking in real time. It also is an award-winning device. It was named one of Time's best inventions of 2023. And listen to this. In their first multi-site research study, 94% of participants improved their walking. When I signed up to use the sleeve, it was super easy to use and customize through the Cionic app. I met face-to-face over the app with somebody from the Cionic mobility team, and we sort of figured out what muscle groups needed to fire more, how many pulses, how much strength, and we personalized it to my settings and helped me track my progress. And listen, the best part is you pay as you go. So if the neural sleeve isn't working for you, you can cancel anytime for any reason.
All right. We're so excited to share that Messy listeners can get $50 off by entering the code MESSY, which is MESSY, during checkout. To learn more, visit cionic.com/messy. That's CIONIC.com/messy.
Hi.
Hi, Mama.
We need to name our listeners at some point.
Oh, yeah. What could we name them? Let's think. It's always really fun when there's a really long pause from me while
Hot
I'm thinking.
messes.
Because that's a fun thing to listen to on a podcast when I'm like,
Well, that's what we have Allison for. Hey, you hot messes. Happy day. Whatever time of day, if you listen to this in the middle of the night, in the morning, in the afternoon, before you go to bed, we are happy to have you join us today.
Yes. And I want to open this up because there's a new thing that's going on in my life. And I'm pretty sure that my life will not be complete if I am not friends or family with Guy Fieri.
Wow.
So
how did this begin?
Okay. So
I also didn't know that's how you say his last name. Fieri.
Yeah, it's Fieri. You have to say it like that. So Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri. Okay.
Guy Fieri. Or, whatever. You can say bruschetta or bruschetta. I don't really care. Either or. But anyway, while I'm waiting for my Bravo shows to happen, because now I'm just weekly, I've blown through every episode of every franchise of every season of every show that we love.
Yeah.
So right now I'm on the weeklies and I don't have time for that. So I've been watching Guy's Grocery Games again for about 4 days now straight, because they just play one episode after another. And I'm pretty convinced that I need to be best friends with him and go up to his ranch. And I want the chefs that he always has up there to cook me food, let me sleep in the bed and just let me walk around the property and then just go back to sleep and just eat food.
I think this sounds like a great rehabilitation for you, right? We're talking about getting out of your bed and getting out of your, getting out and moving. This might be the catalyst. This might be the thing that gets you doing it.
I think that this is the only thing. Like everything else that someone tells me that they want me to go do, I'm like, if it's not at Guy Fieri's house up in Northern California, I don't think I'm really available.
Oh, well, then we got to make this happen.
I just put it out in the universe just now. This is what we're doing.
Who knows Guy Fieri?
I don't know anyone who knows Guy Fieri.
Would you be willing to have me along?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Just checking.
And he's really philanthropic. He does a lot of good for a lot of people. He's a really good person. And we will completely be okay with the fact that he puts his sunglasses on the back of his head. I'm fine with that. I will overlook that. I overlook it.
That's a hard one to look over for me.
I overlook it. I'm fine with it. Go for it, buddy. You do you.
All right. Well, I like this. I like this for you.
Thank you.
I'm glad you found him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad he is sparking something in you.
Well, yes. Great. And also I've been a vegetarian since I was 14 years old. And I've watched diners, drive-ins, and dives like for years. Uh-huh. And I don't mind watching him sloppily eat like bison burgers. Like it doesn't bother me. I don't get sick about it. Like it's okay.
Is it just him?
Yeah, just him. But my thing about watching people eat sweets. Like those baking shows make me ill.
You can't watch people eat in general. Like I have a friend that, that Marco Polo app. And whenever her and I and another girlfriend, we're always sending each other videos. It's kind of how we keep in touch. And I always end up sending mine while I'm eating because that feels like a time when I'm sitting down and I can watch it. And she gets pissed at me on the regular. She does not like to watch me eat and talk.
Well, yeah. Well, that she might have a little bit of misophonia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't stand people's chewing or chewing gum with their mouth open or breathing a lot. But I can watch him like chow down nachos and like have like drippy meat coming into his like goatee. And it does not bother me. I don't mind it. I'm totally okay.
Well, this is we're going to answer this calling. I am really, yes. I like this.
But also just remember, if someone eats cake in front of me or sweets or like those baking shows, I vomit. Like I can't watch people eating cake. Gag. Yeah, I can't. Just cake.
Yeah, I got to figure out what makes me gag because it's not that. Oh, I know what makes me gag. The colonoscopy drink.
Oh, yeah.
I did my first colonoscopy.
And Dick's. Oh, sorry. No, yes, the colonoscopy drink.
That's a given. We don't do that anymore. We do not do that anymore.
No. Who does?
Poor husband. So today we wanted to talk a little bit. You sent a really great article, Christina, to me about the quote unquote ups and downs of living with a chronic illness. And one of the first kind of sentences in the article that really stuck out to me was that there's something that we have to overcome every day. And I think this goes, for everyone in life in general. There's always something that we're having to overcome. But when you're dealing with a chronic illness, like layered on top of it, whether it's emotional and whether it's physical, I don't think that there's a day that I don't lay my head down on my pillow at night that I don't feel completely exhausted of just what I've pushed through. And I say that with sometimes the exhaustion is also filled with some pride and some joy and some satisfaction of that I did push through. And then there's other days that I lay down and that is filled with like deep sadness, because of just wondering kind of what life would be without this. But I do feel like that loop that we all can find ourselves in almost just gives us like another layer of suffering that just we don't need, Yeah.
And also I think what people don't understand about, certain chronic illnesses is that we may feel like, okay, I can do this. Oh my God. And you get sort of spirited and you get like, oh my God, this is good. And then your body the next day completely disappoints you because you did too much. And where's that line, that fine line of like we talked about the other day, I went for a walk and literally the next day I felt like I had done 6 hours at the gym and I literally just walked for maybe 10 minutes and it was too much. But I was like, oh no, I got to do it. I've got to get my heart going again because now my heart like races really fast, really soon because it's not conditioned anymore. But even that, and then I got disappointed. Then I got sad about it. And then I didn't want to do anything again. It's like this cyclical thing of, okay, I feel okay today. Let me try to live life because a lot of the times, you know, for myself at least, and I'm sure a lot of people that have it that are listening or have, you know, various illnesses that are similar, that the second you wake up and if your legs hurt and you stand up and trying to get to the bathroom, you're like, you know what? It feels better just to lay back down.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to stay laying here and waste another 24 hours of my life. But yeah, I just love when it says like ups and downs. I don't know if there is an up. I like, that's the thing where I go like, where's the up? There's just less shit-y, I would say for me, but that's just me. And I'm kind of the wah of the two of us.
You're not the wah.
I'm the wah.
I feel like I actually wish I had a little bit more of that in me because the whole idea for society and for everybody in general, right? They're putting all this self-care, everything is, you know, rest when you need to rest and move when you want to move and listen to your body. And that is the wonderful advice. I can't take it because to me, even if I'm feeling shitty, there's this part of my personality that has to get up and move because I'm so afraid that if I don't, it's going to be worse than it already is. And I push myself constantly and, you know, I have this much left for my extracurriculars, like trying to get a job, you know, and my auditions and things like that. And I'm needing to figure out right now, like the balance of listening to my body and supporting my body and having the boundaries like we always talk about. But also like chasing my dreams. I'm feeling really frustrated about that. I really just don't know. Even in performance, I was talking to one of my best friends who's an actress. I went to visit her this weekend and she's seen me through all of this. And I think I've said, like, I'm really coming to this place because for the 20 something years that I've had this, it's all been about how to act and pretend that I still have this able body, how to cover this up, how to hide it. And I've probably given 40% of what maybe I could creatively give because so much of my focus was like, hold your breath, walk straight, make it look normal, stop, say your line. Like, it's just kind of been devastating how I've been working. And I'm grateful that I was able to during this time, but it's just taken so much away from me in that regard. And I need to really figure out how to settle and relax into this body that I have that I can't change in this very moment and accept in this very moment, this is what I have, and figure out how to relax and feel comfortable performing in that body. And so that's, I think, what was keeping me pushing and pushing and pushing, even when I didn't feel good. And now I'm trying to learn how to just support whatever I have and still feel like I'm having a forward momentum, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And I mean, you and I are like, I'm like the oddly the opposite. I like give up in the first 10 minutes of the morning. Like I wake up because my symptoms, I think we have different and similar symptoms. And what people don't understand about this disease, and we have talked about this, is how different it is per individual. And, but if I wake up and from my knees down, it hurts really bad to even walk to the bathroom, I'm like, oh, well, today is just going to be another lay in bed day because I'd rather just lay in the bed. This is just me. And this is not advice. This is shit, actually. I'd rather just lay here and not feel that pain and watch my shows and take my naps and be alone and not have to talk to anyone. I'd rather do that than have to push through the pain, even though I know that, okay, if you give yourself like 10 minutes of maybe walking around the room or trying to get down the stairs, like they're going to wake up. But I'm too tired of it sometimes. I'm like, I don't want to. And So I just give up, and it's devastating. And it's like, it's so unpredictable.
What at this point, what do we think there could be to give you a fair but like strong motivation to get you moving in small increments? Because I think I told you too, like the 10 minutes walking that you did and then you felt as horrible as you did after, that's normal for anybody that has been as sedentary as you have been, you know, and has as like anyone would be sore from that, MS or not. And you have it tenfold because you live with MS. But I really do think that you have more. We've seen it in your trips. You have more in you than you think. And I think that and I'm speaking to myself here too, like we have to be comfortable with going little bits at a time, especially when we are living in bodies that aren't able to do what we were able to do for most of our lives. Like it's really a mind fuck to close your eyes and feel like, I know how to run. I know how to get up and move and walk through this world, yet your body stops you from doing that.
Yeah. It was funny. I was going to say, as you're talking, like the other day, we have an officer in our canyon who is retiring, and he's someone who has been taking care of our community and our neighborhood for 20 years, keeping us safe, patrolling. Like you can call him any time of the night and he will make sure that squad cars are up here if something's going on. Right. And he's retiring. And so I made up a bunch of lawn signs to put all around our community, which is a pretty big space. And on the other day, I was, went and put them up all over every part of the neighborhood. I didn't bring my cane. I was dodging traffic, trying to stick them places I probably shouldn't be sticking the lawn signs, like maybe illegally, but I did it and I felt completely okay. I was like, wait, what? Like, how did I just do this? Like,
is it because you had a mission?
Climbing up little hills and putting lawn signs.
With no cane?
No cane.
Wow.
And then I did have to run across the street because there were cars. But then when I started to run, it was like, oh, yeah, okay. This hurts and this is hard for me. And I realized like I have no muscles left. Like, I might have become a bigger version of myself, but I have zero muscles in my legs anymore, and zero muscles in my hip flexors, or my calves, or my feet, or my quads. And I was trying to run and it felt like I was running with pounds of cement attached to my legs. But for 1 minute in my brain, I thought I could run. I was like, oh, I have to run across the street so I don't get hit by a car. But then I was reminded again, like, oh no, you actually can't.
Yeah.
Maybe I can one day. I don't know.
Maybe that's the thing.
Maybe we need Trevor on here because I think Trevor is his mission to get us better.
I know. And the only guarantee in life is change, which can be equal parts inspiring and then in equal parts terrifying, right? Because which way is it going to change? How is it going to change? I'll never forget the moment that I lost the ability to run. I was living in New York City and I was going to hail a cab, and I went to go just jog a little bit to get to the cab, and this just feeling like, what just happened? My legs are just not able to do this. I'll never forget it. It was a very wild, and I was 26 years old. And I remember getting in the cab and looking at my boyfriend at the time and just feeling really scared. Like what does this mean? And in that moment, I lost my ability to run, but I didn't stop moving. Yeah. Right. And I'm proud of myself for that. But there's still moments where I'm wondering if I'm making this even harder for myself than I should be, because I can't give up. I can't give up thinking that it could be better one day.
Yeah. Speaking of New York, when I went there like a year or so ago, I walked from my hotel to the train station, and, normally when I lived there, you run down the stairs and you put your Metro card in the thingy, and then you run to your train if it's late or not. but I'd never had used the handrails because it's disgusting.
Yes, very.
But then now you got MS. You're like, oh, I have to put my hands on these handrails.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm telling you. It just really grossed me out. I got really freaked out. But also not at the same time, not really. Like I kind of don't care about germs so much. But I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever touched the handrails going down the stairs to the train.
Oh, I've been touching handrails, walls, people's heads that I don't know for
there's just
decades.
so much pee-pee. There's so much pee-pee and poo-poo down there. Everywhere. There's pee-pee and poo-poo. But I love it. I love the smell of that subways. I love it.
I know you do.
I know. I'm so weird. I love the smell of the pee-pee and the poo-poo.
Oof. Fuck no. Fuck no.
I know, Mama.
Just wanted to take a quick break and share a word from one of Messy's advertisers. Since partnering with Novartis, I have been thinking a lot about when I was first diagnosed with relapsing MS. And to be honest, I was overwhelmed and in denial, and I didn't want to accept it. Eventually, I had to be real with myself, reflect on what was important, reframe how my diagnosis was impacting my life, and focus on how I was feeling. And I wish I'd started thinking about my needs sooner. It helped me get to a place of acceptance and find the right treatment choice for me. And I really hope others don't wait as long as I did. That's why I partnered with Novartis to create a 3-step guide, hoping it can help people speak up and voice their needs. Get the guide at reframingms.com.
Support for Messy comes from Mudwater.
Today's sponsor is for the caffeine junkies who find themselves, like I do, in an endless cycle of coffee highs and lows. So Mudwater is a coffee alternative to get your energy fix without your heart doing jazz hands every morning. Mudwater's like coffee's chill, yoga-loving cousin who went on a spiritual retreat and came back more zen without any jitters. Isn't that lovely? Imagine being alert and calm at the same time while not having trouble falling asleep at night. That sounds like a dream.
Okay, but here's the thing, James.
Tell me.
Only does Mudwater give you that morning boost you need, but it's also packed with adaptogens, antioxidants, and all those other fancy words that make you feel superior to your coffee drinking friends. Because that's what we want to be.
That's right. Superior. Listen, every single ingredient in Mudwater's products are 100% USDA certified organic. They're non-GMO. They're gluten-free. They're vegan. They're kosher. And there's also 0 sugar and no sweeteners added.
Okay. Each ingredient in Mudwater serves a purpose. Okay. Their OG blend contains cacao and chai for a hint of caffeine and hot chocolate-like flavor. Lion's mane. Okay, lion's mane mushrooms, supposed to be very good for the people with the MSs.
That's right, for the brain.
Cordyceps, a word I've never said, but now I know what they are.
Perfectly.
Cordyceps to promote natural energy, and both chaga and reishi to support a healthy immune system. Tastes good, guys.
Yeah, I used my free frother and put a little milk in it, and it was a delicious treat for me in the morning. I love treats in the morning. It starts my day right. So for a limited time, our listeners will get up to 43% off your entire order, free shipping, and a free rechargeable frother when you use our exclusive link. Head to mudwater.com/messy and grab your starter kit.
Can you spell that for me?
Sure. It's MUDWTR.com.
Oh, the A and the E are not in there.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure they know that.
You're right. Again, that's up to 43% off your order at mudwtr.com/messy. And after you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
I was looking at the article and it said the unpredictability can make us confused or depressed. Like that's the thing. That's that word, unpredictability. And I mean, that's life too. So it's like, we can't own that. We can't sit here and go like, we're the only ones where things are unpredictable because life is unpredictable. My hill's falling down behind my house right now, but life is unpredictable. You know, you can be well one day and we had something happen and then you can be gone, you know, you don't know. But I guess as we're living with it, it's such a it's a really horrible, it's like craps. It's like, it's, you don't know. You can't shake the die and know that you're going to get a 7 or whatever the heck people want when they play craps. I don't know. I've never played craps. I can't stand gambling because I think gambling is just like, oh, here's my money that I worked really hard for. And now you guys have it. You guys can have it now. Anyway, that's my, we can get a whole thing about gambling.
That is a very fair assessment of gambling. And I have been explained craps probably 30 times in my life and still don't get it for a reason. So I understand, but I
can't even play blackjack because my math is so bad. Oh. I've sat there in Vegas and tried to play blackjack. And because I can't add, I don't know if I should hit or stay.
And it's probably you're feeling the pressure.
I feel very nervous.
Fast. Yes.
I feel really stupid. Everybody else is doing their funny little hand signs and stuff. And I'm like finger counting to see whether or not I should hit another card.
Math for me, whatever reason, my brain goes real fast. So I love me some blackjack. You leave me at a blackjack table, you can come back a few hours later. I will still be there.
Will you have money? Will you have money?
Well, yeah. I mean, but here's my trick with playing blackjack. As soon as I double my money, or as soon as I double my money, I'll take what I started and put it in my purse, and I will never go back in.
Okay. It's a good call.
Because then I'm just playing for the entertainment and the fun. But what I was going to say was...
We went on that tangent. I can't go to Vegas. I'll just lose everything.
Well, Vegas is out of the question. It's too much walking anyway.
Math.
Although we could rent scooters, but I just feel like... I don't know. Maybe that could be fun.
It's a little like to the ding, 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 ding. And it's just
overstimulating. Yeah.
Yeah. A little too
I
much
can see
for
that.
Me, but no offense to Vegas, just not my thing.
I had a talk with my therapist not too long ago, and I think that we touched on this briefly before, but the idea of acceptance and actually just accepting what is in this very moment, because we don't know which way it could change, we don't know where it could go, is the key to end suffering. And I think that's for everybody, but it's been my main focus. It's been what I journal about in the mornings when I just kind of freehand of just how today can I just accept what it is and not wish in every moment or think in every moment that it should be different, how it could be different, it shouldn't be this way. Because I just feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's just another layer of suffering that just doesn't have to be there. And I'm really, that's my goal for the next couple of months, is to really even fake it till I make it, of just trying to figure out how to just accept that this is it. This is it. This probably will be it. And I got to figure out how to be okay with that.
I'm not there yet. I'm still there's got to be a way out. There's this part of my brain that thinks, well, there's got to be a way out, right? Like all of a sudden, isn't it just going to go away, or they'll have a cure, or something's going to happen, and there's got to be a way out. There's this hope in me, I guess, that I'm not going to feel like this one day. And me having to accept that it's probably, unfortunately, going to get worse, statistically or whatever. And I'm not ready to accept that. That's kind of where I'm not ready to accept.
Well, I don't think in the accepting that necessarily you have to think that. This is why I'm so excited to have Michael Beckwith on, because yes. I really want to ask him about how can I fully accept where I am, but also invite the idea of healing. And the possibility of healing.
He's going to, Michael, he will be like, oh no, you will be cured. It's like, he will set you up for that. And you know what? I've been with him since 1993. He's been my teacher, my friend, and he's gotten me through a shit ton of things in my life, from cancer to deaths to all sorts of stuff. And he does not accept that it's a permanent, there's a period at the end of the sentence. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't live his life that way. There is no period at the end of the sentence.
We need people like that.
There's always room for quote unquote a miracle to happen, which is not a miracle. It takes work. It's not just,
of course,
pray to the god of Zeus and all of a sudden all things are done. But he always believes in possibility. And so, and yet I've gotten angry at that ideology, over these years, that I've gotten angry at him sometimes going, no, this is the truth. And he's like, no, it's not. It's not. It's not linear. It's moving. It's constantly moving. And so, and then I get mad at that because I'm not ready to feel that way yet. I think that's kind of where I stand with my spirituality. I haven't been to Agape in a while because it's like, I get mad at possibility. Isn't that funny? I get mad at looking at things from another point of view because I just want to be a stick in the mud and be like, no, this is shit. My life is shit. Everything is shit. Let me just feel shit. I don't want you to make me feel inspired. And I think that I need more of inspiration, I suppose, in my life, because, what I believe God to be is very personal to me and has been for my entire life. And I believe it to be true, what I believe. And even when those voices, those crazy thinking come in, there's always this one voice that goes, no, you know what the deal is, man. You know what the deal is. And then I yell at it and then we cuss at each other. My two thought patterns. Get very
of course
angry.
You do. Can I ask, when you went through breast cancer, what was your journey similar to this? Not at all like this, in how you were feeling, in your fear, in your hope, in your sadness, in all of the things?
Well, first of all, I had Michael. So I had
you had him helping you through that whole process.
100%. And of course, the day that they called me and said I had cancer, I, fell on the ground and lost my shit. But, I caught it very early because I'm an incredibly diligent person about appointments, doctors' suggestions of appointments. So had I not listened to my doctor and done the suggested test, I'd be dead.
Yeah. 100%.
So because of an MRI at 36 years old rather, this doctor saved my life. And there wasn't like he was looking for something. He just said, this is how I'm feeling. And I need you to not have mammograms anymore. We need to go further because you have very dense breasts. And they found cancer, like literally right then and there. So he saved my life. But anyway, it was like, I kind of just knew that the treatment that I was going to go under, which was originally radiation and possibly some chemo, could be solved by a double mastectomy. And I never had to have treatment. And now I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying that where I was at with my stage, that they knew by doing that I would most likely never have to worry about getting breast cancer again. So it was almost like I just kind of did it. I did it by numbers and I never really got too freaked out about it because the doctors were telling me, hey, I know you don't want to do the double, but this is going to save your life. So finally I had to come to terms with that by having an amputation of my body. And then I kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And then, a year later, I laid on the ground crying again because I missed I had really good boobs, man. I had good boobs. They were real, real pretty. They were on posters in little boys' rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Whacking the needle, whack-a-moling. To my boobies. They were really pretty.
They're still commemorated on those posters.
Yeah, but they were really good boobs. Now they're just like really weird. They look like cauliflower. It's great. I don't really care. Oh, by the way, people that are going through breast cancer, your boobs are not going to look like cauliflower. Mine this was a long time ago. So
But you knew that there was
hope.
There was a clear plan.
Yeah, there was a clear plan and a clear ending. I mean, yes, I have to go back every 6 months and get tested because I have BRCA, BRCA, which is the gene for all the cancers. Real fun. So I have to constantly be tested because of I have my ovaries and my fallopian tubes are gone. That was what's the word that I'm trying to think of? Preventative.
Yes.
Preventive surgery. But I still have my uterus and my the other thing, cervix. So, and it could happen again, but knock on wood, but yes, I get tested constantly. So it's constantly in my life.
Yeah.
But this thing that took away my dancing, my hiking, my running, my picking things up. I don't know, all the things. That's what has made this feel so permanent, because there really is not much we can do.
Right. There's not a clear cut plan of, if you do this, we could beat it.
Yeah. Because there's no beat it.
But maybe
otherwise
there is.
People would have.
But tell me how you feel
there's
about.
A woman. Wait, I want to tell you this before you finish, because you know me, I'll forget what I'm about to say.
No, say it. Go.
And I'm sure she doesn't mind me saying this, or maybe she does, but I know this person. I won't say her name, but she is an instructor at a very famous cycling instruction company.
Yeah.
And her mother is a doctor, and she has MS, and she is a rock star. She's major. Like, she got on the phone with me and yelled at me and said, "You've got to get up off your ass." And she's got this accent. She's, Latina woman. She was really yelling at me, "Get up, get on that bike. You can do it." She was like, "No, I've had this for 40 years. You're going to," and I was like, okay.
Yeah, because there are those people out there that are beating it, that are thriving with it, that are, and there might be people that look at me and think that. I get that.
I look at you. I look at your pictures that you post, and you're dressed up, showered with friends at a public establishment. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can't do that.
Yes, you can. It's not without it being very difficult, though. It's not without me holding on to everybody's hands or walking with the cane or white knuckling through some things. I think in my keeping it a secret for 16 years have built up this muscle of just being yeah, I can do it. And that's where sometimes I feel what I was saying, where I don't have the, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have the self-control or the self-care to be no, I can't do that. No, not for me. I'm just so afraid of missing out on life that I push myself probably too hard sometimes. Or maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I just, this is what I'm saying. I want to stop judging it. I want to stop doing the mental gymnastics of how it should be or how it could be or what I could be doing or not be doing. I just want to figure out how to not have this endless dialogue that we already deal with voices in our head, but I just don't want to deal with the judgment of how I handle my MS anymore.
Yeah. And then I handle it I've given up. So then I judge myself for that. But then at the same time, I'm I worked for, 45 years and was a yes man to everyone for so long. And there's then again, this power that I've gained from being able to say, no, I can't.
Yeah.
And
I admire you for that in a lot of ways, Christina. I really do, because you've bulldozed through a lot of trauma and a lot of experience and a lot of life. And now you're fuck you. I'm going to lay down and I'm going to take a minute to just sit with my shit. And I do think that there's also a power, and I think that that's also very, very admirable, especially coming from my side of things, that I wish I possessed more. I wish I possessed a little bit more of the ability to just say no. I'm just so afraid of it all going away.
If you and I came together as one Disabi baby, we would be unstoppable. We'd be like, fuck off. No, I don't want to. But guess what I'm going to do? A marathon. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Our two ways of being put together would be the perfect balance. You are my yin to the yang, or the yang to my yin.
We are. It's beautifully said.
Simon to my Garfunkel, which is what my bush looks like at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Shave it's when really your stomach is as big as mine. Because you have to lift it up and then get in. You know what I mean? And you're one-handing and you're trying to stand and you're falling over in the shower. I know people with MS can relate to this. You can't get in there and get your leg up and then move your big belly up.
Sit on the floor of this. You got to literally sit on the floor of your shower and contort yourself in strange ways. Support for Messy comes from ZocDoc.
We all know that there are things in life that you have to compromise on.
Like, Christina can't eat seeds and nuts anymore.
No, absolutely not.
I really can't have that dessert I really want. But when it comes to your health, we know this. There is no compromise. Listen to how we have to live our lives. So don't go back to that one doctor who uses your appointment to just catch up on the latest headlines, Or don't go out of network. Don't go drive far. Instead, check out ZocDoc. It's the place where you can find and book doctors who will make you feel comfortable, listen to you, and prioritize your health. You can search by location, availability, and insurance. So literally no compromises here, because with ZocDoc, you have got more options than you know.
ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and encompass highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online.
Yeah, and once you find the doctor that you want, you can book them immediately. So there's no more waiting awkwardly on hold with a receptionist. They're all verified with reviews from actual real patients.
Not the fakey ones.
No. And we're talking about booking appointments with tens of thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed, credible doctors and specialists.
So check it out. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat basically any condition you're searching for, including anal fissures.
We know about those. The typical wait time, by the way, to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between 24 and 72 hours. That's it. Sometimes you can even score same-day appointments. So go to ZocDoc.com/messy and download the ZocDoc app for free, and then find and book a top-rated doctor today.
Guys, that's ZocDoc.com/messy. ZocDoc.com/messy. Support for Messy comes from Jenny Kane.
I don't know about you. Anytime I'm in any one of my Jenny Kane sweaters, I get stopped and people say, "What is that sweater? Where did you get that?" And then, of course, I respond with, Jenny Kane.
Jenny Kane is a California brand through and through, and their staples make getting dressed effortless, perfect for my summer aesthetic. Think minimalist and refined with pieces like luxurious cashmere sweaters and iconic accessories, elevated versions of all your everyday basics. I'm telling you, Jenny Kane has everything you need to embrace your uniform. Not to mention the most incredible home essentials too. Jenny Kane is here to help you live your best season. Yes. In California.
Yes, it's her stuff it's right. It's the basics. It's the stuff that you love, that you wear over and over again. One of those items, may I highly recommend, the cotton cocoon cardigan. You literally feel like you're in a cocoon. You're wrapping yourself in the most luxurious fabric, but it's still lightweight, perfect for summer, perfect for those cool nights. If you need something to add to your vacation wardrobe as well, I've been loving the Flynn cashmere sweater because it's so versatile. You can dress it up or down. It's a perfect piece to pack in a suitcase.
Plus, everything in their collection is designed so intentionally that you can style pieces together without a second thought. I personally love to pair their sweaters with everything from classic denim to a simple dress for a look that's effortless and so easy to put together.
Find your new uniform at jennykane.com. Our listeners I'm so happy to give this to you. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code MESSY15 at checkout.
15% off, guys.
That's right.
I just feel like spelling JENNIKAYNE.com.
Promo code MESSY15. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about. Embrace your summer aesthetic with Jenny Kane.
I was watching, on Instagram when they like show something like this is suggested for you, blah, 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 blah. And there was a girl who was on the Sherry something show. Sherry Shepherd. Sherry Shepherd. See, I remember things. And she was diagnosed with MS a few years ago. And she was talking about the early signs and how she had ignored them. And she had gone to a doctor 6 months later. And the doctor said, you're just, you're having hysteria, you're stressed, you're this, that, and the other thing. And her regrets of not knowing at that time so she could start a great program of that. We know there are plenty out there that do slow, if not stop progression. I don't want to say stop because they can't claim that but the slow. And I thought we should talk about because I think we've talked about this before, but like those early little weird things, like me playing tennis at my tennis club. My knee would buckle and I'd be like, oh, it's hot out. And then I'd play shit out of tennis. I'd be tennising and totally fine. Or I was when I was shooting the first season of Dead to Me late at night and I'd be standing on my mark and we'd be ready and I'd kind of fall forward and everyone's like, oh, it's late. We need to get her home. But that wasn't it. Or when we did the first poster for Dead to Me, we went to a photo shoot. And this is 2018, so long before. And they had us up on a very, maybe a foot high riser. And my depth perception was so bad and my balance was so bad. I was like, I have to get off of here. I have to get off of here. And to know that was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was all this. It was all this disease.
Yeah.
Oh my God, to go back and just have like a knee buckle every once in a while, I'd be like, hella freaking Luya, but no. So if people that are listening, if you're having weird things, I'm not asking you to be a hypochondriac. I'm just saying that just kind of pay attention. Your body's trying to tell you something. Doesn't mean you have MS. You might just be really clumsy or drunk. I don't know, something.
Well, early detection with everything, right, is key. Yeah, mine got caught pretty early. I mean, I was 20.
Yeah.
We caught it pretty early, but similarly to what you were just saying, oh my God, I can think of times when, and not to take it away from myself, that it was scary and hard of like feeling certain things. But I would give anything to go back to just feeling those little things. But, hiding it was so much.
I can't imagine how you did that.
I did this pilot. It was a big deal. The beautiful actress Sherry Stringfield was playing my partner, and we were these two detectives, and we were shooting it in Atlanta. It was like my first real starring role of like a pilot after The Sopranos. There was a lot of buzz behind it. We were shooting it in Atlanta, and I'll never forget every night in my hotel room just trying to figure out like how I could just jog a little bit, because I had just had a feeling that it was going to come up, even though it didn't say it in the script. And I would fall into the walls, and it would try, and I, like hours just sitting there, like breathing and willing myself to be able to do it. And then lo and behold, it's like I fucking knew, or maybe I manifested it. But my first day of work, the first scene we were going to shoot, they're like, okay, you know what? We're thinking of actually having you across the street, and you're going to run across with all of these guys to go be at the door. And just the fight or flight, which is a feeling now I've felt millions of times. I just couldn't believe that this was happening. I remember looking at Sherry and being like, hey, I didn't want to say anything. I've got an ankle thing. I just made it up. And I was like, could you just like run a little slower just so I can keep up? And she's like, of course, girl, I got it. We're doing it. Tripped and fell the first time. Second time kind of banged into somebody, and I can feel people kind of being like, what the fuck's wrong with this girl? And a divine intervention happened. There was this like sweet man that was the head stunt coordinator that happened to just be dressed as one of like the SWAT guys behind me. And he could feel it, that I was struggling. And he looked at me and he's like, hey, no one can see. I'm going to stick my hand in the back of your vest and I'm going to carry you. I want you to just look like you're running and I'm going to carry you. And I still to this day believe this guy
that's going to make
was
me
like
cry.
a fucking gift from God.
When your angels come to you when you need them and you don't ask.
And he did. And he carried me. But then all throughout that pilot, I started getting like, I remember one of the executives from the network coming, being like, what's going on with your walking? Or then like a producer being like, are you okay? And, you know, me just think, yeah. Then next thing I knew, I got a call from my manager who didn't know at the time either. And he was like, hey, I'm getting calls about your movement. What's going on? Are you ill? Are you sick? What's happening? They were sending doctors to come. And I don't know how this doctor was like, oh, her ankle's very swollen. I think she might have done something to it. Like, I was so divinely protected during that time, but the 3 weeks of shooting that pilot was like absolute hell.
I'm sure.
And
Mama.
I will never forget that for the next 4 months, I would sit and pray every day, please don't let this get picked up. Please don't let this get picked up. I don't know how I'm going to do it. And it didn't. That prayer was answered. But after that, still, every other job, I did a sitcom on NBC, which should have been a fuck ton of fun. And in some ways it was. But every episode, man, what's going on? What's doing this? Why is this happening?
Hiding that secret, I can't. I mean, I hid it for a while too, but nothing like how you did. But it's just like you want to like scream, like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm sick. You know, I'm sick.
I'll never forget. One of the directors came up to me because he's the one that pointed it out. Nobody had really noticed it. And he was like, you know, I showed everybody that you limp when you walk. And I wanted to punch him in the mouth.
Motherfucker.
But I actually think I missed out on a really good opportunity in that moment because I remember he looked at me and it was like he fucking knew. And he was like, you know, I think something's going on with you and you're not talking about it. And I was like, okay. And he's like, you know, I'm just going to tell you a story. I did a sitcom a long time with a woman named Terry Garr. And I don't know if you know Terry Garr, but she lived with MS. And he's like, and her hands started to tremble and she started to have issues. And she just told me and we worked around it and we figured it out. And in that moment, fuck.
Oh, I'm sorry. I called him a motherfucker. Sorry.
No, he was in that moment. And we've actually met since. And we've had a really nice heart to heart about it. But I remember just feeling so afraid and so exposed. But it should have been an opportunity where I could have been like, that's what's happening to me. Like, can you please help me? But I just couldn't do it. I was so afraid of just being cast aside because I had this. And after that's when I stopped acting, when that show was done. I stopped acting for a little while because I didn't know how to do it. And then when I saw him again on a job, I sat him down and I told him about that moment.
Wow.
And he's like, I'm going to tell you, I didn't know you had MS. I didn't. I wasn't, but I knew something was wrong with you. And I said, and he apologized for how he made me feel. And I apologized for not taking a moment and realizing that maybe he was like actually trying to help me. Yeah, I think that's a lot of like, for me, the trauma that like I'm unraveling in the acceptance of this, because for 16 years, I just pretended that it wasn't the way it was and just suffered so much more than I needed to. And I was so shocked when I first became public with it of how many people were writing me and saying, I haven't told anyone either. I think that they're whether they're afraid of being fired or afraid of being judged, a myriad of reasons. But it was somewhat comforting for me to not feel like I was just this massive failure, and that like all of us deal with these feelings of how to navigate this.
Yeah, I had to come out because someone had posted pictures of me in a wheelchair.
Really?
And
I didn't know that.
On set. And at first people were saying
Someone
like,
took a
oh
picture
no,
of
well
you on set and published it?
Yep.
Wow.
And I had to address it. And I was like, better just get it over with now. And but I hadn't told the crew until I went public. Like the crew didn't know. A couple people had known. But I remember a day that we had this director. Now, there's an upside to having all female directors on a television program. And then sometimes not having females as directors, because there can be really emotion and a little unhinged.
Yeah.
And we had this director and I got to work and I was in such pain. And I just found out like a week before. And the only people that had known were the creator of the show, Linda, and like my friend Mitch, who was our sound guy, who basically took care of me every single day for that entire year and has since 2008. He's been through cancer with me. He's like my guy. I bring him everywhere. Anyway, this woman gets her feelings hurt first thing in the morning and leaves the set for 4 hours. Now, mind you, the director. So I'm sitting in my trailer, which is not my bed. I mean, it's comfortable, but not my bed, for 4 hours waiting for this woman to get her shit together, to change her tampon and come back and direct the show.
Wow.
And we're shooting in this lobby area and it was really hot. And I didn't know about the heat thing. I mean, I'm new to it. I just found out 4 days before, basically. Yeah. And my co-star said, you can't be in heat, dude, because my hands were shaking. I was slurring. Couldn't walk in my shoes. I was like, all the things were happening. And she says, you can't be in heat. So, and they didn't have air conditioning. So I finally was like, I can't work unless she actually said she can't work unless we have air conditioning. So all this stuff. And I walked by this little weepy director and I looked at her and I said, I have fucking MS. Thank you for making me wait around all morning. Good and walked away. And it was the first time it came out of my mouth, but I was like angry. I was such an asshole. You know me. Like, I can be a little rough around the edges, but I just screamed at her. Like, you and your whatever you were doing for 4 hours, I was waiting in my room in excruciating pain, having to get up earlier than I want to be able to get up. And you made me wait. But then I screamed it. And then it was like everyone heard.
It was
So that was kind of my outing on set, was me yelling at a woman.
But I'm sorry that happened.
She just kind of looked at me like, what? Because I was mean. I was anger, Christina, which is not something a lot of people see. When the mouth gets all weird and my teeth get, and my lips get pursed and I sweat a lot.
But you got to let that out. You have to let that out. That's not
right from me. And then I told them, I was like, hey, it's out now. I guess everyone can know because I just screamed at the lady.
Did you find how you had so much support once that you did have it out?
Oh, the second I released it, like my statement about it, it was amazing because so many people out of the woodwork. We had ADs that they ended up hiring who did have MS, who took care of me. Yeah. Things like that, where it became like part of the set of like, this is what's happening. Yes. None of us really understand what it is, but we did have an AD for a minute and she had MS and she was amazing. Like she'd come sit with me and tell everyone, back off. We're going to take a few minutes here. That's what we're doing. And so it ended up being kind of a blessing that lady left for 4 hours. And then I screamed it up. She ain't going to work in this town again. Just kidding. I don't know. I don't even remember her name. So I'm sure she's fine.
No, but I think that's available for everyone. It's like our biggest fear, right? For me, it was having people know. For you, I don't know if it was being vulnerable and needing the help or whatever it is. Like the second you just kind of face it and say it out loud, I do believe that there's more support than you realize that could be available.
There is. And then you flip side it, and it might not be for some people. It might be the catalyst that they get fired from a job because now you're seen as disabled. You've got the little plaque for your car and you're that guy, which I don't mind so much because I get good parking, but that's neither here nor there. But then you're labeled and there's scrutiny and that you can't do your job. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why a lot of people don't say a lot about a lot of things, whether it be sexual harassment at work or anything like that. It's that fear of, I'm going to seem weak. I'm going to seem that I'm victimizing myself, or I'm going to need more help, or mostly people don't want to help you. That I've noticed in the world. I've noticed that people are like, oh, it's too much for me. You're too woe is me. You're too much to take on. So I don't know. There's both sides to that story, I guess.
There's those people, but then there's, like you said, the other people. And I think that it doesn't matter how much of there are of either. I think just the fact that there is that available, I think we're all robbing ourselves of an opportunity to have somebody help us. And I think that that's what you and I are doing here. We are sharing the hard parts. And I feel that maybe this is a wish now I'm putting out in the universe, that you and I are going to receive a lot of healing in whatever way that is, because of how willing we are to share the hard stuff. And I think that maybe people can understand and see the light too, that in sharing this vulnerability, there could be, it's kind of like a prayer that you're putting out to the universe in a really human and unagendaed way.
Yeah. I agree. I also think that there is, this sort of in the zeitgeist right now, this kind of conversation about workplaces and especially sets to be more accommodating for people that are disabled, and hiring disabled actors and hiring disabled crew and making it accessible for us. And it's a small little voice, but it's being said out there. I've heard it being said, not just by you and myself or Selma or, whomever, but that there is, the word accessibility is now something that is on people's tongues, whether it be accessibility for underwear or bras or clothes or makeup that Selma's out there, behind, to you and I talking about, we are capable as fuck to work as actors. We have our brains, we've got our wit, we know what we're doing, we're good at what we do. We just sometimes need to sit down, or maybe don't do a long cross, but give us our chance to give you what we're capable of doing.
Amen.
And I think that that's this conversation that we're having. I hope that, I hope in the interim before this episode airs or whatever, that there is more that's happening. I've talked about a show that I think, which I can't say, but, they're trying, it's going to be all disabled people, like, that work on it. And I think that's, if it happens, that's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Should we pull some cards?
Oh, sure. You can pull some cards. I'm really over my cards. I don't like them anymore.
You need a new deck?
I need something new. I got to find something new. I was going to say Bed Bath & Beyond. I'm not going to go to Bed Bath & Beyond to get spiritual cards. I'm going to go Barnes & Noble.
I miss
Borders.
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Or I could go to Bed Bath & Beyond. There are no Bed Bath & Beyonds. That sucks.
Ugh. All right. You ready for mine?
Yeah.
One life on this earth is all that we get, whether it is enough or not enough. And the obvious conclusion would seem to be that at the very least, we are fools if we do not live it as fully and bravely and beautifully as we can.
Ah, suck a dick.
Fuck you, Frederick Buchner. Whatever, however I say it.
Fucking positive energy.
I love how we always say fuck you to the guy that wrote it, but ain't it the truth? Ain't
How would you feel? Just kidding. I think it's beautiful, and it's exactly what we needed to hear today.
Yeah, always is.
Sorry, you know me. I don't do well with sentiment.
Yes, you do. You just find the beautiful humor in it.
It's my deflection. It's my wall, so I don't have to cry.
I get it.
And therapy begins again.
Here we
go. I love you.
I love you so much.
And I think that just this talk today, I'm going to start to cry. See, this is what happens. I can't. It makes me want to do better. It makes me want to try harder. And so it is, baby.
And so it is.
This show is executive produced by Christina Applegate, Jamie-Lynn Siegler, and Allison Bresnick. Our audio engineer is Josh Windish.
And if you want to show us some love, don't forget to leave the show a rating or review. Hi, it's Jamie. Thanks for listening. I just want to let you know I am a paid spokesperson for Novartis, but this podcast is independent from my collaboration with Novartis.